Straight from Mother Russia. And as they say in Moscow, Spasiba.
Russia with love.
Here I am, Vietnam. Raining's always coming down. Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. Welcome to this week's episode. Today we're going to take a look at some Comrade lenses, some from Russia. Actually, it wasn't even Russia back then. This was back in the days of the USSR, you know, the Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. So we should refer to these as Soviet-era lenses.
The Soviet Union will be pleased to offer amnesty to your wayward vassal.
The Soviet Union? I thought you guys broke up.
Yes, that's what we wanted you to think.
But anyway, I have a small collection of my own here. They're all vintage lenses, of course. I have 6 of them. These little babies here don't cost a whole heck of a lot. And I have 2 85 millimeter Jupiter 9s. I have a Helios 44, which is a 58 millimeter. I have a Mir 1B, which is a 37 millimeter. I have an Industar 61, which is a 52 millimeter. And then I have a Jupiter 8, which is a 50 millimeter. So I'll go through each one of these individually and, you know, again, talk about their histories and so forth of where they came from. Okay, so starting off on my far right, which is your left, this is what I call my Frankenstein lens. This is my Jupiter 9, 85 millimeter. This is f2, and you know, it's a pretty cool lens. I mean, I call it the Frankenstein lens because the optics are from an older Jupiter 9. So the seller who sold this to me had the gumption, I guess, because the body was so messed up on that one, but the optics were good. And the reverse on the body of this one, the optics were terrible. They were scratched up or whatever. So he married the two together and created a whole new lens for me. So here is Jupiter 9. The body itself is from 1988. Actually, it has a cool serial number. It'll be very popular here in Asia. They love 8. So it's a 8808800. And of course, again, you can't see through, probably the video is too small, but each one of these has a manufacturer stamp on them that you could you know, research through the internet to find out. But the lens itself is a Zavod Arsenal. It's the name of the factory where these were created, and you can tell by the year on these things. The term Jupiter is written in the Russian language. So the later versions of these are written in English. You know, Jupiter. So you can read Jupiter 9. But this is in the Russian script. So anyway, the lens is 1963 from Zavod Arsenal. The body itself is manufactured by LZOS, and so that's, you know, again, there's quite a number of different manufacturers in Russia or in the Soviet Union back then that created these. So you know, most of these lenses are made by various Soviet factories, and you know, back in the days, Soviet Union didn't really did not innovate and come up with their own lens designs for anything. They copied everything. You know, and especially in Europe, you know, after World War II, as part of the reparations they basically got handed East Germany, which included the Carl Zeiss factory in Vienna. And so this is a copy of a Carl Zeiss sonar. So it's 7 elements in 3 groups, just like your typical sonar design. You know, the coating on here, probably can't see on the video, but it's got a kind of a purple magenta coating on it. Very simple. The like a lot of these lenses here, it has a preset aperture, which means that you turn the preset setting to the aperture that you desire. So whether it's f2 or whether it's f16, you would set it to that, and then the actual aperture ring itself can only move to that position. So I set mine always to f16 because I like to have play with the full range of aperture motion. But if you wanted to set it for f4, let's say you click to f4, and your aperture ring itself would only be able to move from f2 to f4. It would have that range of motion. But I prefer to have the full range of motion here. And as you can see, the the white background, so you can see through the lens here. 15 aperture blades, which makes for a nice smooth out of focus background. So it makes for a very pleasing bokeh. So as you can see here, as it closes down and open, it's very round, which is very sought after for many photographers out there. So that's the benefit of this. And I'll show you some photos on my M50 here. Let me first open it up so that I could do so. And I'll do this one by one to each one of the lenses here, and they're all M42. Well, until we get to here, these are all M42, but they're all screw mount. And one of the downsides of screw mount, of course, is when you get to the hard end, full stop, and if you keep, if you keep going, you're going to unscrew.
That's what she said.
Unscrew the lens from the mount itself, which could be dangerous if you go too far. It could fall off, and last thing lenses like to do is hit the ground. So so let me get you a focused photo here, and I'm focusing in on my my Sony A7R II, which I'm filming this on, and it has a Canon FD24 millimeter lens on here. It's funny, I always have challenges with with saying millimeter. Anyway, so that is my first Jupiter 9 lens that I want to talk about. Is LZOS, which stands for some Russian thing which I can't even pronounce, so I'm just going to call it by its acronym, the LZOS. Anyway, so two different manufacturers to make my Frankenstein here. Next one is my next Jupiter 9. This one is made by, again, LZOS with the whole thing, the lens and the body itself. As you can see, here it says made in USSR, very clearly stamped. USSR! The Union of Soviet Socialist Republic. And again, it's an 85 millimeter f2. Now the script on the inside of the lens is actually written in English. It says Jupiter 9. The older lenses are in the Russian script, But I think that adds kind of the character to the lens in itself. And same thing with serial numbers. Another way to identify the age of a particular item made in the Soviet Union was the first 2 digits are the year of manufacture. So this one is N7808713. So that's the 8,713th lens made in 1978 for this particular model. And as you see here, they all seem like they're fairly tall lenses. Most of it is because of the M42 to EOS M adapter on here, so they're not actually very big at all. So anyway, let me give you a sample photo of this baby, and this was my most expensive out of the group. It was $100. And as I keep saying, in the world of photography, $100 is great budget. Great budget for an 85, especially an 85 millimeter. You know, you can't beat that. So that's my Jupiter 9 collection, the 2 Jupiter 9s that I have. As I say, they're great little lenses. One of the things I do want to bring up, though, with Soviet lenses, you know, Soviets were not exactly well known for great manufacturing practices. So their QC, their quality control wasn't the greatest in the world. So you could probably get 5 different versions of the same lens and come up with 5 different sample variations and whatnot, that some are great, some are not. But when you get to some lenses, you know, like this little guy here was $20. You know, if you get one that you know, appears to truly suck, you know, you're like, hell, this is a terrible lens. You probably just got a bad sample. So for that much money, throw it away or give it to somebody or sell it again to somebody else. Sell! And buy another one, you know, and keep your fingers crossed that you get a good sample next time. So that's my my take on my Jupiter 9s. The next one in the list here I want to look at, this is the Helios. It's one of the more famous names for Soviet lenses that are sought after by photographers. This is a Helios 44-2. There's a 44-2, 44-4, a 6, a 7. Anyway, they're just different variations of the same model, just different body formations. But apparently the optics are supposed to be the same. But there's talk that some of them maybe got better as the models went up in number. But this is the most common one. The Helios 44, again 1988. Seems I have a thing with 1988. Is when the manufacturer of this particular lens was made, and this is the Valdai. It's Valdai optics. You know, Valdai was one of those satellite manufacturers or factories for the big mother of all factories in Russia for optics, and that's KMZ. They're the big guys in the game. So the Valdai made lenses for KMZ and Zenit. over the years. The other thing too, I just want to mention real quick too about Soviet era lenses is the aperture blades themselves sometimes can be a little oily. And I'm going to have a separate video talking about how to clean oil from the aperture blades themselves. You know, I've done it on a number of different lenses that I have, mostly because I wanted to shoot with those ones more so, and so I cleaned them. But then I remembered I wanted to make a video about how to clean them, so I left these ones intentionally. Like my Helios here has a bit of oil on it. The Jupiter, this one has some oil on it that I want to show you guys how to go about removing that. It's not that difficult, really. So this is the Helios 44. It is a copy of, remember this was the Carl Zeiss sonar. This is the Carl Zeiss Biotar. Same focal length and everything, 58 millimeter f2. And what makes this particular lens popular with a lot of photographers is the outer background area. Under certain circumstances, you can get a swirl going, and it all depends on the distance from your subject to the camera, and then the distance of the background from the subject. And if you get all those in just the right condition, you can get a swirl happening. Some people love the swirl, some people hate it.
Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
But hey, that's photography. You'll find, especially for those beginners, anybody watching this who's a beginner, you'll soon discover that photographers come in two types. People who just enjoy photography for what it is, and then the other type are the armchair warriors who want to pick apart and criticize every single little tiny detail that you do in your work. They'll say you need to be in manual focus at all times. They'll tell you, you need to know all the technical specs of your camera and your lens, and everything to do with the world of photography. You're expected to be an expert in it, and there are experts out there. But a lot of these guys who claim to be experts, and I'm not one, I'm definitely going to tell you right now, I'm not an expert in these things. I'm just sharing with you my rudimentary knowledge of what these are, and my experience with saving money and using these to enjoy photography. That's why I got into this, is I enjoy photography, and I don't care if people like my work or don't like it. It's you do these things for yourself, not for others, unless you're a professional and you need to make money at it. That's a whole different ballgame. So anyway, that's the Helios 44. As I say, it's a great little lens. And oh, I forgot to take my sample photo on my little Canon here. So let me give you a shot of that, and so I can show you what I'm seeing through this. All right, so that's the Helios. Next in my lineup is a favorite amongst videographers. Now, Helios is a favorite too, but in particular, this one is Mir Model 1B. It's popular because 37 millimeter focal length at f2. Again, it's declicked aperture ring, so it's nice and smooth. This one's a little loose, actually, probably too loose for most videographers. But as I said, I like it because it, I set it at f16, and then I have free reign over the amount of opening that I have, or what aperture I'd like to put it at, just whenever. So this is another 1988 model. Again, it's on this big adapter, so it makes it look as actually quite a small lens.
There's so many different sizes.
You know, this one cost me $35. I don't remember if I told you the Helios was, I paid $80, but all of these, you know, vary in range of prices all the time. But again, this was $35 for a 37 millimeter. This is made by Vologda Optics factory, and today they pretty much, you know, give up on camera stuff, and they're mostly into military application for their manufacturing. So that is the mirror. It's got 10 blades, so it's got a, you know, again, a nice smooth aperture again, or a nice smooth background out of focus, creating some could create some nice bokeh. Depends, but it's a wider field of view. So as you can see by my photo sample here, focus in on, you're going to see much more of that side of the room, not just the camera. So that is that is the Mir 1B. So moving right along, again, trying to keep these videos a little shorter. I always say that, they end up being 20 minutes. Moving on to the Industar. Industar is another famous one. It's this is a Industar 61, so it's a 52 millimeter 2.8, and it's made by FED manufacturer. And what they were famous for, FED, was remember I said about copying, you know, Soviets copied everything. What they were famous for is copying the Leica model, Leica cameras, Leica lenses. Thus the mount is L39, so it's again another screw mount, and you can get adapter rings to these if you don't want to get an L39 mount. You can get more M42s and just get an adapter ring to screw in to make it an M42, and then screw that into your M42 adapter. So you have choices with these things. So anyway, so this is the Industar 61. As I said, it's the cheapest one. It's only $20. And it has, as you can hear, it has clicked aperture ring. But it has 10 blades. So as I said, with the more blades, you know, usually the smoother the out of focus background is, and thus the quality of that, the bokeh. Few videos out there on the Industar that are well done. Can show you details on these. So let me give you a photo sample of what I see through the lens here. All right, so that is my Industar. And as I said, these are very economical, which is what, you know, Modesty photography is all about, is saving you money. So as I said, for $20, you can't go wrong for a 50-ish millimeter camera, lens. Last one on my list is another Jupiter. This one is the Jupiter 8. This one's made, and you can tell by the little symbol, which you probably can't see from there, but it's like a prism with light going through, and that's the logo for KMZ, which is Russia's or the Soviets' #1 lens manufacturer. They're the biggest in the group. You know, this one's also the oldest. You know, this is, as I said, you could tell by the serial number, the first 2 digits of the year is 1961. And as I said, with the magenta or purple coating on this one's kind of a bluish coating. So it's nice to see they're all coated anyway. Whether it's multi-coating or single layer, the coating helps in either regard. This one also is clickless aperture, opening, closing. Again, 10 blades. This one was $40 US, so again, not very expensive at all. And as you can see how nice and polished the aluminum is here. Retro Photo House is the company in Russia that I bought this from. They have a number of good videos out there based on the Soviet lenses that you should watch, get educated on. But also you can purchase from them too. I forget his name directly, but anyway, nice fellow, does very good work on this. So let me give you a sample of what the Jupiter 8 is, and it's a 50, as I said, it's a 50 millimeter f2. As I said, it's a great little lens. Look how small that is, even on a small body like an M50. It looks good. You can put this whole thing in your pocket and walk around with it, do some neat street photography and whatnot. Looks great. So anyway, it's also an L39. As I said, you can get these adapters relatively cheap on eBay or depending on where in the world you are, a number of other sites that they come in. If you have any comments or anything you want to leave below to talk about maybe your own experiences with Soviet lenses. If you have any questions, do future videos on cleaning oily aperture blades, as well as speaking of bokeh or the quality of the out of focus background. Is going to be another video of mine in the future as well. So with that said, don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more of these. Hit the like button. YouTube likes the like button, just like Facebook likes the like button. So that's pretty much it. So that's Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. You have yourself a great weekend or a great week, depending on when you're watching this. And this is brought to you by Modesty Photography. And with that said, we'll see you in the next episode.
Here I am.